Hey guys, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez, coming at you with another Pokemon sales data video. Magikarp shirt, no splashing on today. It was hot. Jumping right into it, we have a Steelix first edition PSA 10. I don't know if I mentioned this yesterday. Sold for $500, sold by me, and I sent that out this morning. Guy, super fast payer, it was great. And then I also sold another thing, two things actually. It was a 2008 Tropical Wind promo. It was a staff, which there are, I don't know how many, like 21, 22 staffs in the pop report with like 4 PSA 10s, but this was a 9. And then a top 32, which had, I don't know how many PSA in the pop report for PSA, but there were no 10s. And that was a 9 also. So we have a staff and a top 32 for 2008. They were both PSA 9. And I had it listed for $1,000 or best offer. You know, I had other, and these two guys were actually in competition. This guy and I think King Charizard Andrew, whatever they were trying to go like 780, and it wasn't like a bidding war. They just best offered war, and this guy he went to like 790 or something. That was his first bid, and I think the other one guy, his highest bid was 780. And his 780, I had countered with like 905, I think, and he just never answered. But this guy, he bid 790, and I countered with 950, figuring, okay, let me drop 5%. And not only that, even if I got the full $1,000, you got the 10% from eBay, and then I put 10% for Best Friends Animal Society on it, and that fees and everything. I might have gotten like maybe $750 or whatever, but. I countered with 950, and he jumps up $90, and he goes like, okay, 880, and I was like, okay, that's fine. It's been on for a while, so the 880 again minus, let's say 88, so 176 because of 10% fee for Best Friends Animal Society, 10% fee for eBay, and everything else. Let's say I get like $700 out of this, maybe a little less, like 600, whatever. It's good. And as soon as I got that, I bought a Misty's Gyarados. And why did I buy a Misty's Gyarados? Because, and I'll let you know, it was first edition PSA 10. It was $750 or best offer. I offered $500 for it, seeing like, okay, what are they going to counter with? And they offered $600. And I was like, oh, fuck, that's, yeah, buy. So I bought it. Now with taxes and fees and everything, it came to $650. Oh no, I'm sorry. I offered $600 and they countered with $650, and I bought it. And with taxes and fees and everything, it came to like $702. So I'm just using the funds from one sale to fund another purchase. And why I bought that is because taking a look at the numbers, 224 PSA 10 copies of Misty's Gyarados, right? There's 245 PSA 9 copies, so it's. Maybe a couple of those 9s are regraded twice trying to get the 10. Maybe a couple of those 10s aren't really real. There's a lot more copies of this than there are of Giovanni's Gyarados, which is like 100 copies less than that. So I do think Giovanni's Gyarados is undervalued. I just don't know if I've seen one. But why I bought this right now is because that in the past week, we've had 2 PSA 8s sell for $127 and $125, which means about, let's say you double it, would be about $250. And not only that, you have more data points. We had 2 PSA 9s, so for $226 and $225. Again, this is all in the past week. And if I can get something for, again, $650, that's less than 3 times what the 9 is going for. Done. Absolutely done. Sold. But, so putting money where my mouth is, that's what I'm doing. That's what I did. And then I also bought a Blossom from King Pokemon himself, Gary from Pawn Stars. Blossom, first edition PSA 10, $340. Bought it. I gave him $345 because I love him, zero of mine, and shipping, whatever. I think that's, even if it's at market or even if that's the price point right now, the record price point, I bought that because the Blossoms are going for $90 to $100 first edition PSA 9. And there's only like 118 PSA 10 copies of this Blossom, so I thought that was a good deal. And again, even if I pay premium for it now, it'll go up. And also for the Misty's Gyarados, I paid a premium for that. The last 2 PSA 10s from Yeah, they're from March 10th. I'm sorry, May 10th. So about a month ago. So for $361. And then on I'm sorry, for May 15th, so within 5 days after that, sold for $411. And I paid $650. So I paid a hefty price point. I took this 411, times it by 1.50. So it increased 50%. I paid a regular price because I still think it's undervalued. Still think it's undervalued. So again, sometimes you have to move the ball. Like you have to. Had I not bought that, PSA 4 Kangaskhan at 98.50, let's say 10K, I would not have gotten offered, 15K for it, like 2 weeks ago. That 6 would not have sold for 20K. So just sometimes you have to move the ball forward for it to keep moving. And I think, again, it's still undervalued. So moving on past that, outside of my purchases and my sellings, we had a Brock's Ninetales, first edition PSA 9, so for $228. If I see a Brock's Ninetales for $500-$600, I'm going to get it. Or, first edition PSA 10. We had a Blaine's Charizard, first edition PSA 8.5, sell for $600. Which is great. There's another Blaine's Charizard listed right now for like $1,700. I'm thinking I might get it just because it's. I truly believe that's going to go to $2,000. Not soon, not shortly. We've seen like $1,200 to $1,500 for Charizard PSA 9, and the last couple of PSA 10 sold for $3,500. But 8.5 selling for $600. I think 8.5 is weird because even at 8, I think $600 is fine. So 8.5 probably should have gotten a little bit higher. I don't 100% know how to do the fractional decimals because I don't think there's enough data points on it for me to give a informed opinion on it. We had a Dark Charizard, first edition PSA 9. We had 2 of them. This one sold first. This one, the starting bid was $650. So after that $650, someone bid $666. I was like, I see what you're doing there. Someone bid $710, and the winning bid was $720. This guy, I didn't look at the feedback, but he had 2 pictures, front and back. He might have even had more, I think. But then another Dark Charizard sold like just an hour ago. But the Dark Charizard is the same thing. First edition PSA 9, the front looked fine. One, it was a private listing. Like the people who bought said private listing, so you couldn't tell what the feedback was for them. And there's only one picture. There's just a picture of the front. Maybe the person who's selling it just happened to have one in their inventory, and maybe they had a warehouse of like 10,000 cards and they just used a stock image, but I don't think that's what you do for a higher ticket item like this. And again, it's not even worth 4 figures, but still, for something that's several $100s, I think, okay, take a couple minutes, because had this person, if it was a true 9, taken a front and a back photo, I think it would have sold for more. But either they just were too busy and couldn't do it, so it's not going to make a difference, or the 9, it shouldn't have been a 9, it should have been an 8, and maybe the back was fucked up. That's probably what was going on. They did private listing on top of that. Again, I don't like private listings because you can't tell the feedback for the buyers. Moving on past that, we had Erica's Venusaur, first edition PSA 8, sell for $188. I think that's a little low because you see the 9 selling for. I sold mine for $450 like a month ago. Others, and I've had offers for mine for $600 and $650, and I couldn't, sell it for that. I should probably up it because I don't. Even at someone buys it for $700. I'm like, I do think that's going to be $1,000 card eventually. I think after this, I'm going to go change it because I don't want to sell it for $700. And if someone buys it right now for $700, like, well, I have to. I have to sell it. Love those cards. Cards are great. So see, remember what I told you when I bought them for like $130, $180? Super undervalued. Within a month that tripled. So that's what I'm doing. Shining Tyranitar, first edition PSA 9. Top 5 bids were $740, $900, $1,050, $1,125, and $1,150. Those top 3 were right there, but within $100 each of each other. And Shining Tyranitar, first edition PSA 9. So I have to take a look at the pop report for the 9s and 10s, but that PSA 10 should be minimum $3,500. Minimum. I went over the Misty's Gyarados. Articuno, first edition PSA 9. Sold for $194 from the fossil set. It's a hollow. And then I get one over the Blossom. Houndoom from Neo Revelation. First edition PSA 9. Sold for $358. I think that's undervalued too, because the guy who posted he has a Houndoom first edition PSA 10 for $5,000 or best offer, and because I followed it, he sent out offer to all interested parties, which is myself, for $3,500, and I honestly think that's a fair price point. I honestly think that that is something that oh no, that wasn't the Houndoom. I'm sorry, that was a Umbreon. I'm sorry, disregard. So disregard. Let me go through this again. Houndoom Neo Revelation First Edition PSA 9 Hollow. It's over 358. I have no idea if that's undervalued or overvalued or not. I was confusing that with Umbreon. Sorry guys, my fault. Outside of that, again, this is what I'm doing. Also, that's the end of the sales data. I just want to bring up one more thing. I was thinking about starting like a hedge fund for Pokemon, and a lot of these, I asked the E4 community about it, and they said a couple of things. One, just all right, what is a hedge fund? Hedge fund is generally people that they raise a lot of money, from clients. Let's say people that they have several $1,000,000. Let's say they get an inheritance or they had an idea, whatever, and they capitalize on it. And they have a lot of money, but they don't know what to do with it. Let's say they know how to do whatever they do to get money, but they don't know how to invest. They go to a hedge fund manager. Go to a hedge fund. They go say, like, listen, how do I invest? $10 million, $100 million, $1 billion, whatever. And a lot of what these hedge fund managers will do is stock market generally will give you around 10% returns a year. Between 9 and 12, on average. Obviously this year, a lot of people's stuff tanked, it went back up. But on general, the market, that's what it does. It just grows. And a lot of what these guys will do, instead of not even doing like mutual funds, which again they do, if you're talking like, 7, 8, 9 figures, you're going to want to do something a bit safer. So if you're going to get, let's say, like bonds, with something that gives you like 1% a year, you're going to want to do that because let's say you have $1 billion to invest, 1% is $10 million a year. Obviously, no one's going to put $1 billion into Pokemon. There is some, I don't want to say worry, speculation that there's a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk. He's CEO of VaynerMedia and a couple of other things. He's worth a couple $100 million. He knows how to make money, knows how to run businesses, and his focus is on attention. And he's blown up everywhere the last few years. But he's encouraging people, instead of normal investments, to buy sports cards. Baseball specifically, because one, he's got a vast knowledge in that. That's what he did that's what he did growing up in high school to make money, and that's what he's doing. A lot of what he's doing right now is buying sports cards. And if someone like that, again, sports cards, you could do that with. You could have 100 and have a field day because there's product like that. There's product worth 7, 8 figures, but in Pokemon, there's really very, very few items. Maybe Illustrator, a couple of those trophy cards that are worth, together. Maybe I know SM Pratt's done 7-figure deals, but if you have someone with $100 million that's going to want to even put 1% an extra $1 million in, like just wherever, and just buy up a bunch of trophy cards, like that is going to make some of the prices skyrocket. And again, obviously there are already millionaires in the hobby. There are already people that are worth, not just 7 figures, 8 figures, not, in the hobby. But my goal, what to do is I don't want to raise, $100 million. I want to take people that have extra capital, and I honestly feel that I could say, like, okay, you can buy this, use my formulas, figure out what's undervalued. And I would do, like, I would treat their money as if it was my money, maybe even a little more safer. I would say, like, okay, like I'm purchasing Rocket's Hitmonchan's and I'm purchasing, Blossoms and other things, but those things are a little bit more speculative. They're not Charizards, they're not Arcanines, they're not trophies with stuff that's everyone in the hobby that have been in for a little bit worth their salt, would want and think that it's a great card. I'm doing stuff that I think has a lot of potential to grow, maybe boxes, but my goal is just to help people. My goal is to help people make money, and I that's what my first business is in. My first business is in lending. It's in credit lines, cash advance. It's in term loans, equipment financing. And I give business owners money. I give them my own money. Like I say, like, hey, no one else is helping you out because you had, you took out credit cards to be able to buy materials because you haven't gotten paid on the last job, but you need to finish this job. You need to continue paying your guys, and the credit goes down, and banks don't want to touch them. And that's what I do. It's like, listen, you have a good business, you're a good guy. Let me give you my money, at a bit of a premium. You pay back, and that's what I do. I love people. Through that, I started a couple scholarships for my old school. I donated to Best Friends Animal Society. Is my services going to be free? No, it's not going to be free. I'm going to make a small fee for handling the money, and then a small fee on the profits. Like 1% or 0.5% or whatever. Again, just an idea, and people of E4 have all said, like, hey, listen, this has been trying to be quantified before. Most likely it's not going to work. Most likely it's just not. And a lot of people were talking about fractional shares, like, oh, you take 30,000, you take 30,000, now you each own 50% of a first edition Charizard base set, PSA 10. That's not something I would do. That's something that I would be interested in personally with like a friend or someone else. But again, that's not something that I would entertain as far as other clients having fractional shares. Too messy that way. Other apps like Robinhood and Square can do it because there's millions and millions of users, billions of dollars in there. Or Square has a cash app. My goal would just be to help people. That's really just what I want. Anyway, that was it. It's just an idea. I might just do a consulting thing at the end of the day, a small fee, like, hey, this is what I think is undervalued. This is what I'm doing. This is what I think you should do. So that might be what it turns into, because there's a lot of legal bylaws I'd have to get filing with the SEC and all that. But again, just what I'm doing. I love you all. I'll talk to you later. Okay, bye.